Some people don't cover lettuce seeds at all, but I like to give them just a very gentle sprinkling of. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having an awesome day. It is Tuesday, September 24th here in South Georgia, and supposedly we got another hurricane on the way. Supposedly there's one that's headed right for us. I guess by the time this video airs, we'll know whether that happened or not. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about lettuce because I need to get some lettuce seeds started in this little greenhouse behind me. So we're going to first talk about leaf lettuce versus head lettuce, the pros and cons of each, and maybe help you decide which one is best suited for your garden. Then we're going to go inside the greenhouse and I'm going to show you how I get my head lettuce started so we can grow out some nice looking transplants. So let's start off with this comparison of leaf lettuce versus head lettuce. Now, I should be clear, I usually only grow head lettuce, and I'll explain that in a minute. But there are many situations where leaf lettuce might work better for you. And just as a general rule, leaf lettuce is something that you would direct seed in your garden or in your raised beds or in containers, just sprinkling the seed on the soil there. Head lettuce is something you would grow out from transplants and then put those transplants in the ground, much like we'll be doing. Well, let's dig into this comparison a little bit further. So leaf lettuce, or loose lettuce as some people call it, is just kind of loose leaves of lettuce that you plant real thick in a bed. I'll try to throw a picture up right here, kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about if you're not familiar with those terms. So we're not getting a big dense head of lettuce. It's all kind of loose, and we cut it. And we can cut it again. Usually regrows just fine after cutting it. Now, a lot of people will use not actual lettuce for leaf lettuce. Some people use things like arugula. Some people use baby mustard greens. But in general, we're talking about leaf lettuce. And most of these are purchased, you know, when you buy a little pack of seeds, you buy a mix. Sometimes you'll find individual varieties, but a lot of times it's a leaf lettuce mix that may have, you know, different colors, red and green, and several different leaf types in that mix. Now, there are several advantages or reasons why someone might want to grow leaf lettuce as opposed to head lettuce in their backyard garden. One of the reasons is leaf lettuce grows out really fast. Much like those Savannah mustard greens we like to grow, you can often get your first harvest of leaf lettuce in just say 30 or 40 days. So it doesn't take long after direct seeding to be getting some groceries. Another great reason to grow leaf lettuce is you don't have to grow out a transplant. You just go out there and sprinkle those seeds in your garden, water them, and they're usually up and going in just a few days. You skip the whole starting in a greenhouse or seed starting room, that whole process. So leaf lettuce is great for those who may not be familiar with the skill of seed starting and growing out their own transplants, or those who just don't want to fool with it and they'd rather just go scatter some seeds right in the garden. Another advantage to growing leaf lettuce is you get multiple harvests. So it's not just a single cut or one-time harvest. Leaf lettuce is a cut and come again type crop. So you cut it right above soil level, it regrows, you cut it again. A lot of times you can cut it 3 or 4 times before that lettuce may try to go to seed on you. Another reason to grow leaf lettuce is you don't have to have a ton of space to grow it. So maybe you don't even have any raised beds or containers available outside to grow leaf lettuce this fall. You could take something as simple as a 10 by 20 bottom tray and plant some leaf lettuce in that. Now, probably only get about 1 or 2 salads worth from that 10 by 20 bottom tray, but if you cut it several times, you'll end up getting a decent amount from that little bit of space. So those are the reasons one might want to grow some leaf lettuce. Now let me tell you why someone like myself prefers growing head lettuce. So head lettuce makes, as the name suggests, a nice dense head of lettuce, and it's a single time harvest or a one-time harvest. So once we cut that head of lettuce, yeah, it may grow back a few leaves, but it's usually a one-time harvest. Now, it's important to note here, we have a lot of control over that eventual head size of lettuce just by how thick we plant our little lettuce plugs that we grow out. And I've done a lot of experimentation with this over the years. Back when we were selling our own vegetables, I could grow out smaller heads of lettuce if I want them, or if I needed larger heads of lettuce, I just put my plugs further apart. So you can put those plugs real tight and grow some nice little mini heads of lettuce, or you can, you know, space them out a little bit more, maybe a foot apart or so, and grow some nice large heads of lettuce. So with the head lettuce, we're getting a much more dense collection of groceries per square foot. Now with the leaf lettuce, yes, we can harvest that multiple times, but with the head lettuce, because it's so dense, I actually think you get more food per square foot, assuming you plant it pretty tight. With the head lettuce, you get more groceries per square foot than you do with the leaf lettuce. Some might argue that, but I think you do, just given how tightly wound those heads of lettuce are. Another reason I prefer head lettuce is because there are just better varieties of head lettuce out there than there are leaf lettuce. Now there are some varieties you can grow as head lettuce or as leaf lettuce. You can treat them either way, but the head lettuce varieties we like to grow, you don't really find that with leaf lettuce. The oak leaf variety we'll be planting here in a minute is a perfect example. You don't see that very often or at all with leaf lettuce. So I get a better selection amongst higher quality varieties that may be more, you know, heat tolerant or bolt resistant when I'm looking at head lettuce versus leaf lettuce. And a final reason I prefer head lettuce is because it's quicker to harvest. With the leaf lettuce, I'm making multiple cuts there to accumulate enough leaves for a salad or whatever I'm wanting to make. With head lettuce, just one simple cut per head gives me a pretty decent amount of groceries. So in conclusion here, to wrap up this discussion of leaf lettuce versus head lettuce, I think leaf lettuce is great for gardeners with limited space that maybe only need a little bit of lettuce at a time and that don't have the ability to grow out their own transplants. And on the contrary, I think head lettuce is great for people who do have the ability to grow out their own transplants, who maybe have a little bit more room in their garden to work with, and who need more lettuce at one time. We usually go through 2 or 3 heads of lettuce at a time. In our house, we make some pretty big salads for supper. So I like head lettuce because I can easily harvest more at one time. But if you're just needing a little bit, the leaf lettuce may be the way to go. Alright, so let me show you how we get some head lettuce transplants started here in the greenhouse. But first, real quick, an update on some of our other stuff we've got growing for fall. Our brassicas are looking much better since we stepped them up into these 2.5-inch pots. Some of those looking really good, might be ready to plant in the next week or so. And our onions right here are just starting to pop. You can see a few little sprouts there in those trays. Onions take some patience. You're looking at about 7 to 10 days germination time. I think these are around 6 days, but it's probably going to be closer to 10 days before they all pop. But anyways, back to the lettuce here. So we're going to get 4 different varieties of head lettuce started today in one of these bootstrap trays. And let me go ahead and address this because I know it will come up. It always does every time we're starting seeds in a different looking tray than we did, you know, our last seed starting endeavor. People will say, I thought you didn't like those bootstrap trays. I thought you liked the prop tech trays better. And it's like they want me to pick just one. But truthfully, I like them both. I don't really need 128 lettuce transplants off the rip this fall. So I'm going with this smaller bootstrap tray because that's probably all I'm going to need initially. If I need a lot more or something, yeah, those prop tech trays are great. If I don't need quite that much, I sometimes go with these bootstrap trays. The cells are a little bit bigger and the footprint is a little bit smaller. So we've got 4 different varieties here, 4 varieties that I have grown quite a few times over the last few years, and you can find seeds for all these on our website. So the first one we got here is called Bower, which is an oak leaf variety that I really like. We got Cherokee, it's a red lettuce, really good heat tolerant variety. Adriana is a green butterhead variety, nice velvety texture, absolutely delicious. And then Sparks is one of my favorite romaine varieties, always does well for us down here. Now, if you've been following our channel for a while, you know I'm a big fan of pelleted lettuce seed, but that's not what we have here. That's not what we offer on our website. This is raw lettuce seed. with the pelleted lettuce seed, you got to water that stuff overhead, and some people just struggle with getting it to germinate, although I find it quite easy. So for customer service simplicity, we've just got the raw seeds here that we carry on our website, and that's what we're going to be planting today. Now, some people will say you don't need to cover lettuce seeds at all, that they need light to germinate, but I always do like to cover mine a little bit. Some people scatter them right on top of the soil, but as I'll show you here, this is the way we do it. We do cover them a little bit. So I've already made some indentions in those cells there, just some light indentions there, so I can get these seeds in the center of those cells. And I'm going to try to drop one seed per cell, but if I get more than one, not a big deal. Unlike onions, I do want to thin these out eventually to one seed per cell, because I just want one head of lettuce from each of these cells. I want a nice single plug of lettuce that will grow me out a nice head once we put it in the garden. So we got our oak leaf lettuce seeds down. 3 columns of that are approximately 18 or so plants, and we're gonna roll with our Cherokee here. Some of these I'm dropping 2 or 3 seeds. That'll be okay. It's pretty easy to thin this stuff down the road. Try to just get one there. These raw seeds do also tend to store a little bit better than those pelleted seeds, so that's another advantage to these, although they are much more difficult to singulate and just drop one seed in each cell. Now that we've got seeds in all those cells, we want to cover them with some good old Go Dogs perlite like we always do here. Just a really light covering of this stuff. Like I told you earlier, some people don't cover lettuce seeds at all, but I like to give them just a very gentle sprinkling of perlite. Cover them up just a hair. Now once those seeds germinate, those should grow out pretty dang fast. It doesn't take long at all to get a nice viable lettuce plug or transplant. And yeah, here on the 24th of September, I probably got my lettuce seed started a little later than I should have, but it's still too hot here to put lettuce in the ground anyways. It's 91 degrees out here right now, and then got a hurricane on the way. So even if I had lettuce plugs ready to go in the ground, I wouldn't want to put them in the ground right now. So we'll get some in the ground probably, mid-October or so, which will be just fine. And I probably won't plant all those lettuce plugs at one time. So here's a little trick I've learned over the last few years that works really, really well. So you can just grow out one tray of plugs, but you can kind of stagger your harvest and kind of use that one tray in succession plant it. So as soon as those plugs have a nice root ball on them, do your first planting. Leave the rest of them in that tray there. Keep watering them. They're going to start looking a little pitiful, and they're going to get a little bit root bound. But just keep watering them. Keep them alive. Then, say a couple weeks later, 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks later, put those root-bound, ugly plugs in the ground. Now, you're going to have to feed them a little bit to kind of get them going, but it will give you a nice little succession harvest of lettuce throughout the cooler months. And that way you don't have to start seeds multiple times. You can just work off that one tray there. Like I said, the only kicker is with that second planting, once those plugs start looking a little rough, you got to push them a little bit in the beginning to kind of kickstart them, but they're usually just fine after that. And I guess I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I really like lettuce. I really like to eat lettuce, but I also really like to grow lettuce. And I always tell any beginner gardeners I talk to, you should be growing lettuce in the fall and winter months. It's a great, easy vegetable to conquer, not hard at all to grow, not necessarily a real heavy feeder. All you got to do is put down some organic fertilizer, or you could use synthetic, but just a somewhat balanced fertilizer like that Coop Grow. Put some of that down when you plant it, and that's usually plenty enough to carry lettuce the entire distance. So it's not like you got to baby the plants a whole lot. You got to keep feeding them, nothing like that. Put down some fertilizer at planting, and that's usually enough to grow out some really, really nice looking lettuce heads. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Let me know in the comments below if you're a leaf lettuce person or more of a head lettuce person. And if you want to see some of these head lettuce varieties that we planted today, full size, nice and beautiful, in one of our raised beds, watch this video from last year. You can see what they actually look like. So check that out, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.